Oracle Content Management, or OCM, provides an end-to-end digital asset management solution, enabling contributors, marketers, and digital agencies to create, manage, disseminate, and potentially also archive digital assets such as images, videos, audio, documents, or other rich media content. Our vision is to enable users of Oracle Content Management to manage the entire digital asset lifecycle from within one platform and one UI. So as marketers and content owners request and plan digital content to support their ongoing projects, images and videos can be uploaded into OCM from a number of sources, including popular file sharing platforms such as OneDrive, Dropbox, or Google Drive, Adobe Creative Cloud, or directly from the user's computer. These assets can then be organized into collections and categories to facilitate findability and access control. Embedded AI-powered computer vision is then employed to auto-tag these images and videos, while consolidation in one DAM brings the benefits of standardized collaboration. Users inside and outside of the enterprise are then able to collaborate and review in real time through annotations and conversations to refine that digital content. Embedded workflow capabilities ensure that only the approved content is published, while multi-channel publishing facilitates approved content distribution to one or more channels with the click of a button. Renditions are automatically generated for each image and video and also available for delivery via the REST API or GraphQL for consumption to any defined channel. Finally, as we continue to close the loop on our DAM capabilities, OCM provides the ability to track usage of digital assets, audit and monitoring, and upcoming archiving capabilities. From archive, digital assets can also be restored and reused, dramatically decreasing production costs and time to market through findability and reuse. Let's have a look now at how that works in practice in Oracle Content Management. So within Oracle Content Management, we have a number of ways of bringing content in. If you want to bring content from your local desktop, you can just drag and drop it in, simple as that. The platform will provide you with a import wizard that will be listing all of the assets and allowing you to perform some operations in bulk. Alternatively, what you can do is you can leverage one of our existing content connectors. And in this example, I have the Google Drive connector already configured. And what this will provide me with is with a multi-asset select pop-up that will basically lead me to the same ingestion screen. And in here, of course, I have all of my images listed that I want to bring in. I can decide if I want to just leave them with the regular image asset type, or maybe I want to switch them to the product image asset type. Now, why this might be relevant is because, for example, for the product image asset type, I might have additional attributes and metadata that I want to define. And I can do that assignment in bulk for all the images, and then, of course, edit those attributes in bulk. So, for example, maybe I want to make sure that I assign the extension for all of these assets, and maybe say that I am the author of these images to begin with. Then clicking on done, of course, will assign all of those values to all the images. Of course, I can do this individually for each asset, but if I have hundreds of images, it makes sense to do this editing in bulk. Additionally, what I can do is I can also assign particular categories. So, if I want to give my repository, essentially all of my content some structure, I can define a custom taxonomy, and what we have here on the right hand side is just an example of that. It can look in any way we want, and then assign the content to the categories in that taxonomy. So in my case, maybe I want to assign these 4 images to accessories, let's say. And of course, then I have the possibility of also adding some of the images that I create to a collection. So if I want to maybe group some content together and share all of that content in bulk with all the contributors, I can create a collection and I can assign the content as I import it to that collection. And then, of course, I can assign, for example, tags in bulk as well. So for example, I know that all of these images are about dessert, so I'm going to assign dessert as well. Of course, when I click on done, the images will be imported and become available and visible as tiles inside of my repository. I'll get previews of the images as well. And then, of course, I can open up my images and start collaborating and annotating on these images. Now that we have the images in, we can actually collaborate and work on these images, but at the same time, we can benefit from a number of out-of-the-box capabilities. You will notice that within Oracle Content Management, all images are auto-tagged using machine learning, and we can see in the case of this image that we already have some tags applied. Of course, we can also use those same tags to do some basic searching. We can use synonym terms suggested by the platform to refine that query and find, for example, all the related items. Or what we can do is we can also use a number of machine learning embedded capabilities. For example, find categorized similarly, which will retrieve for me all the images that have those same tags and that same category. Or even better, we can use visual search. So for example, if I want to find all the frozen desserts, all I need to do is use find similarly. And that will retrieve for me all of the various desserts and ice cream desserts available inside of our site. Of course, I can collapse this to get a bit more real estate, but at the end of the day, these are the capabilities that are enabled by a digital asset management platform. Essentially, the ability for you to be able to ingest content in bulk, assign some policies, collaborate in that content, and then easily find that content. And this makes collaboration and rich content creation a lot more efficient. Now, once images are in, I can start collaborating and editing them in a centralized and standardized manner. So for example, I can open up this image, I can have a preview, I can perform a number of actions to zoom out, for example, to see the full image. I can have a number of properties like, for example, the auto-generated renditions. I can have a look at what are the attributes for the image. I can open up a conversation where I can annotate on this image. So perhaps maybe I want to add an annotation and say, create a square rendition. And I can flag, for example, somebody in my team to do this urgently. And that person will receive a notification to know that pending action is outstanding for him. And then I can do a number of things. For example, I can generate custom renditions. So maybe I want to create that square rendition. Suppose I was John right now. So all I need to do is I need to open up the web editor and then select the part that I want to have available as a rendition. Do a cropping. I'll get the cropped square version of the image. And then maybe I want to save it as a rendition and call it square, for example, and save that. Now this rendition will show up under the renditions panel as a custom rendition. Now, if you need to do some additional editing, we also integrate with Adobe Creative Cloud. And here you can see an example in Photoshop of editing the same image and specifically that same square rendition that we just created. You can actually link that rendition over in Photoshop and start applying additional elements. Like, for example, maybe I want to apply a text saying, enjoy every cup, right? And I can apply this and change the font, for example, and then move it over to the bottom right corner of the image. And then, of course, from the same extension, I can also save the asset in that specific rendition by replacing with the selected layer. Now, back into the OCM UI, I want to finish my editorial process by requesting approval for my content from the editor. So in order to do that and work more efficiently, I can switch over to a table view, for example, and then multi-select all the assets that I just imported or edited and submit them through a workflow by selecting from the taskbar the workflow section. Now in this side panel, I have a number of sample workflows, and I'm going to select submitting all of the 5 assets through the one-step process workflow. As the workflow has been initiated for all 5 assets, the status has moved to in review for each of these, and I've also received a notification. Now, what I can do is I can also action this workflow directly from the same panel. So by selecting one asset, I get the view of that particular asset and can actually action the approval myself. So as a content approver, because I have all the roles, I can also approve the asset and also provide a comment. Once the workflow is approved, the asset is marked as completed, and an audit trail is also provided with the action, the comments, and the timestamp and date stamp as well. I can now see the workflow has finalized, and I can do the same for all the 5 assets. Fast forwarding to when we had all the images actually approved, we can now multi-select these images and publish them. We can do publish in one of 2 ways. We can either publish now or publish later through a publish job. Let's start with a publish later. This is essentially the capability for you to schedule when you'd like to publish content, and you can obviously select which channels you want to publish the assets to, or you can target 2 specific channels that you've preset when you uploaded the content. In my case, I'm going to select a number of channels like Facebook, Instagram, commerce, and so on. Validate, which obviously checks dependencies across all the assets, but because these are individual images, we don't have any dependencies now. And I'm just going to give it a name. And once I'm done, I can schedule that particular job. The content, as I've actually scheduled it, will also show up under the publishing jobs section, which is a dedicated calendar section where I can see my publishing job. I can open it up to see what assets I'm going to publish and when. I can see to what channels I'm going to publish it. And of course, I can edit the job if I need to. Alternatively, what we can do is we can also publish the same assets immediately through the same process, selecting the assets and then clicking on Publish Now. Same process applies, only this time I don't get the prompt to actually schedule the job. I can select which channels I want to publish to. So for example, maybe I want to publish to commerce, to Facebook, to Instagram. Of course, I validate if I have any workflows assigned to these particular asset types, and I am only allowed to publish content that is approved, which I can configure at channel level. That will actually take part in the validation. So it will show me whether some content is not approved or whether it is not in conformity with the policies on that particular channel. And once I publish the content, the status, you will notice, changes to blue, and I get a major version for the content. And now all of these items are available for consumption via the API, via GraphQL, or in custom clients that have been built for those specific channels.